Okay, let's go next to Alan from Miami, Florida. Alan, welcome. Alan, you are on the air, but it looks like you have the wrong microphone selected. Welcome to the program. You can speak if you can get configured correctly. And last chance for Alan from Miami, Florida, who is in tech hell, as we might call it. Welcome, Alan.
Hello, can you hear me?
Now I can hear you.
How are you, David?
I'm doing well.
Good, good. So I had a question about EVs. I find EVs very interesting, and I know you've talked about them in the past on several occasions. So um, now, as you probably know, the biggest issue with EVs from a cost standpoint is the most expensive part, right? Which is the battery, and more specifically, the materials you sourced and used to manufacture these batteries,
Yes.
right? And if you look at the trajectory of EV prices or EV vehicles, their prices, they have been going down, but the price of these batteries are still a big impediment, right?
Yes.
So, what do you think maybe the government can do? What kind of role do you think, or positive role, do you think the government can play in trying to resolve this issue or helping to resolve this issue? And the reason I ask is because a lot of people in the EV space will say that the biggest impediment for the middle class, or let's say just regular folk being able to afford an EV, is this issue basically is the cost of the materials to manufacture the batteries.
So there's a couple different things here. First of all, in terms of what the government can do, that's not the most interesting question to me, because like the government can do what it's done in other industries that it wants to support: rebates, subsidies, preferential tax treatment. The government has its tools that it can use, and I'm fine with the government doing that. I think the problem you're pointing out is going to resolve itself with more electric vehicle demand, and as adoption increases. I mean, listen, it's like when you look at computer processors, right? And you look at, I remember when we got from Radio Shack this 100 megahertz Pentium computer, and it was like $2,500 in whatever year that was, which is like a lot more money now. You know, it's probably $5 or $6 grand now. And now you get, multi gigahertz processors for way less. By some of the same laws that govern the reduced price of hard drive storage and the reduced cost of processing power, I think you're going to see absolutely the same thing with electric vehicle batteries. The other thing is communicating to people that because electric vehicles are so much more efficient than internal combustion engines on a per mile basis, it's also possible that while the upfront cost of an electric vehicle can be higher, although those costs are also coming down, the long-term costs, because the electricity is cheaper than the gas and the efficiency is higher, so your cost per mile is lower, the total cost of ownership is going to be less. So I think it's a matter of, we've got to communicate that that's already the case. The prices will continue to come down. Battery recycling and reuse is going to be developed. All of these things are really engineering problems that are like what we saw in computing and in other spaces. It's all going to get resolved, is my view.
Okay, I see. Well, it seems to me that as far as you mentioned, recycling, that's a huge thing that many companies are trying to push, is to try to get these batteries to kind of get back into the life cycle, because they
Yep.
still have valuable use. But it seems, and I could be wrong here, maybe you can correct me on this, but it seems like, I don't know if the government or federal government has any sort of program to recycle or incentivize recycling of these things, because
That I don't know.
we'll
They
have
may
these
they may
things.
or they may not.
Yeah, so that could be an area maybe that sort of the government can address, because so far right now it seems like it's just startups that are coming out of nowhere that are trying to resolve that issue, and the government isn't doing much
I would
in
like
that
the
way.
government to more incentivizing this technology development, but it's happening, Alan. It's all happening.
Cool, thank you. Well,
All
that's
right.
it. Have
Thank you
a
for the
great rest of your
call.
day.
Appreciate it. Alan from Miami, Florida. Quite a scene down there, that I can tell you for sure. Let's go. Oh, just a reminder for everybody waiting in Discord to chat with me. If your nickname is anything other than a name and a location, whether it's nicknames or single words or whatever the case may be, jokes, you're not going to get called on, which is fine if you're just listening, but just so you know why you won't be getting called on. Let's go next to Moshe from Toronto, Canada. Welcome.
Hello, David.
Hello.
Hello. So I was wondering, I don't know how invested you are in Canadian politics, but I was wondering if I could get your opinion on how well you think Justin Trudeau has been doing over the last while, and your opinion about the new Conservative Party leader Pierre Poilievre, who just won the race for Conservative Party leader.
You know, I think it wouldn't be appropriate for me to comment, not because I think it's inappropriate to comment on foreign leaders, but because there are just so many people who follow it much more closely than I do that I couldn't possibly give you a very informed take. I will say, I recently, when I was in Montreal, met with and chatted with MP Anthony Housefather, who likes what Trudeau is doing, but they're in the same party, right? So he may have a dog in that fight, so to speak. But no, I don't think I'm informed enough to really be saying, hey, listen to my opinion about Canadian politics.
Yeah, well, the MPs will always vote for the people in their party, no matter what. That's pretty much how it works.
Mm-hmm. Well, tell me, I mean, how do you think things are day to day in Toronto?
Well, I mean, yeah, we're dealing with the cost of living being in a pretty terrible place right now.
Mm-hmm.
The government's working on getting dental care in place, which is interesting. The question, I guess, is the question. I wonder what you would think is if now is the right time to start implementing like these high cost programs at this point where everyone is just trying to like save money, reduce inflation. You know.
You said a dental care program?
Yeah. They want to start doing a federal program where we get coverage from the government for dental care, because up until now that's completely been private and only paid for by private insurance.
Well, listen, again, without commenting specifically about what's going on in Canada, there are always people who will say this is the wrong time to do anything that involves spending money. But my view tends to be when it comes to things like healthcare, why would you wait? The sooner people get care, the better off we are.
Even if that means risking the money being spent elsewhere.
Well, you'd have to then say, well, what else do you want to spend it on and compare?
Oh, I would say not spend.
Not spend it at all.
As of this current moment, yeah.
Okay, all right. Well, I'd like to see the numbers on it, but again, I'm not the best position to comment on that.
Okay, all right. Thank you for your time.
All right, thanks, Moshe from Toronto. Great to hear from you.